Imagine your business not just surviving, but thriving. Your wealth locked in, your opportunities exploding, and your family's future built on a legacy that never fades. I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional. I help entrepreneurs and high-growth enterprises protect, distribute, and transfer their wealth through my proven system, the Wall of Wealth. I unite your experts into one cohesive strategy because the most expensive line on your balance sheet isn't debt or taxes, it's conflicting advice. Ready to align every dollar with your mission and turn today's success into tomorrow's divine promise. Wealth today, dynasty tomorrow.
Happy Wealthy Wednesday, champions. Come on in, come on in. Grab your fuzzy bunny slippers. Get something nice to drink. I've been on this dandelion kick. Don't worry about that. That's something else there. I've been on the dandelion tea kick, which is really supposed to be really great to help with cleansing and all that. So I'd like to know, where are you tuning in from? Are you finding us on Facebook? We're live over on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. We're also live on my YouTube channel, Dynasty Builder. So if LinkedIn gets a little wonky, you can come and join us over there, Dynasty Builder 93940. And today's topic is really coming from the most perfect person to share this with. And I want to say this, that I do this show because I enjoy highlighting other people. I really enjoy giving people their flowers as they talk about that. I was watching Coach Carey's, watching the replay of an event that she did recently, and she was talking about giving people their sparkle, right? Showing them the sparkle that you see in them. And my guest speaker truly does encompass that. She's somebody that I have looked to for many years now. She's actually the first person to really pour into me and encourage me to create my first ebook. I was looking and trying to figure out, asking people on how to create an ebook, and nobody was understanding the concept I was trying to convey. And she said, you know what, Leah, you can do it yourself. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about this. She's like, it's okay, you can do it. She walked me through the process. And you know what? That to me is somebody that is so generous. She's got a generous giving heart. She has a passion for what she does. And I met her through a LinkedIn audio rooms. And here's what I want to say is that now I know we don't have the LinkedIn audio rooms, but how do you take time to get to know the people in your network? Are you doing coffee chats? Are you looking at their content? Are you making comments? Listen, this is 2026, y'all. We got to come out of the shadows and get into the mix. And part of my show, on my show, because this is my show, I can make the rules. I cater to entrepreneurs and business owners. You can shout yourself out. You can network in the comments. You can share your ebook. You can share your upcoming events. I love it when I look back through the comments and I see people connecting and collaborating with each other. So I've said all that because this is truly what this guest speaker means to me. She collaborates, she masterminds, she shares her knowledge, and she's truly brilliant. And sometimes she speaks really high level. I'm like, you got to bring it down a little bit for me, but she always does, and she's super patient. So please give it up for my incredible guest speaker, the one and only Miss Cristina Segatto. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesday. You are absolutely a fan favorite, just so you know. I always get great feedback from your shows. You give so much great information. I think, we have fun together. So welcome again to Wealthy Wednesday.
Thank you, Leah. And it's funny that you said that, you took something from me, because this very topic, it's born out of a conversation that we had 3 years ago. You actually were talking about the high ticket, pipeline, and having a bigger offer and see what else it is that you can offer if you had, a much bigger client or a company instead of an individual. So that stayed with me, and it fermented over time until I got my own, my own rhythm into it, and I figured out what it meant to me.
That is truly and just organically, right? We didn't sit down and say, okay, let's figure out how to do this. It's organically through osmosis. It's having a real authentic, and people kind of throw that word around a lot. It's really having a genuine conversation. So many times, I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, we get so ready to sell everybody our widget. And of course we want to, that's why we're here. Let's be real. But that we forget there's a person behind that. There's a person behind the bubble. There's a person, maybe they're not commenting on your stuff, but they're watching your episode. And maybe they're glimpsing what you're doing. They don't need your services, but they refer you to someone else. We got to really take time. And I'm not saying you could do this with every single person, but you got to take some time with the people that you respect, admire, you see their value, and have a conversation, have a little coffee chat. I say, let's make no pitch coffee chats go viral, right? So we're talking about the high ticket pipeline. And I really leaned into this a few years ago when I started collaborating with Eric F. King. He asked me what my high ticket offer. And at the time I was like, what are you talking about? I had no idea of the concept. And it's not so much to me that you're selling or catering only to that high ticket offer. It's that you're going to have exposure at some point. Somebody's going to want to pay you extra. Okay, we got to be ready to receive that extra. So that's my 2 cents, but we want to hear from you. I want to welcome a few people who've joined us. And of course, oh my gosh, Coach Carrie, I don't know if you're here, but I was just giving you your flowers. I loved your show the other day. I don't know who your guest speaker was, but you were talking about seeing the sparkle in others. And one thing that she said that is so crucial, and I work with intention to do this. I do this with my precious grandson. I do this with people that I meet. I do this with friends. When you give someone a compliment, don't just say, wow, you're amazing. Like, what does that mean? Tell them specifically what's amazing about them. Cristina, you're generous, you're knowledgeable, and you make it fun. You help us that are just still have our training wheels on, right? You help us to understand these processes. So thank you for joining us, Coach Carrie. I didn't have a chance to make comments, but when I was in the gym this morning, I was listening to your episode. It was so great. I also want to welcome Miss Linda. Great to see you. I've been seeing you everywhere, Miss Linda. We just had a little diatribe in the comments. And I've been seeing her everywhere. I really, really enjoyed that. And we have my good friend, Mr. Merrill. Thank you for joining us. Merrill is so incredible. Not only does he show up, but he gives these incredible comments. He's bringing other people in. He's shouting them out. I just adore you. Thank you so much, Merrill. We appreciate you. We have the one and only Miss Nick Angai Galindo, the brilliance behind Guiding Brilliant Writers. Boy, she has been everywhere. Dr. Steve just dropped his book. I just picked it up, the Kindle. I actually got Kindle just for this ebook, although I'm going to order the physical copy. Behind the Mask, incredible. He is so brilliant. And truly, Nick is that brilliance behind that Guiding Brilliant Writers. She also dropped We're More Than Our Diagnosis. I just picked that up. Boy, Dr. Steve wrote the foreword. You got to check out this book. I'm telling you, she truly does bring out brilliance. If you've ever thought of writing a book, or if you've never thought of writing a book, I promise you, she's going to help bring out that brilliance in you. And then, oh my gosh, Jackie, she's all healed up. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. She hosts Just Jax. And actually, you're coming up. I just saw you're going to be on the episode with her on Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. Jackie is just a true collaborator. She's a community builder, has a heart of gold. And I'm still waiting for our story time. I know you've been super busy, but Miss Jackie and I are going to have story time. Okay. I adore her voice. I just want to grow up to have a voice like Miss Jackie. So tell us, kind of help us to unpack just the mind shift, right? I don't believe in a mindset. What's the mind shift of having a high ticket offer? Like, what if I'm just getting started? Do I even need to think about a high ticket offer?
Well, no, really, you shouldn't. So that's the whole thing. You shouldn't start with that principle. You should really start with understanding who it is that you want to serve. Because when somebody asks you, who is your ideal client, right? Who is that customer avatar? It's never just specifically one person, one specific moment. It could be one person, but it is the same person through different stages. So you can have somebody that is starting out and you envision them as somebody that is, passionate, has ideas, maybe it's a little bit scattered, and has a vision, and they know some tech, for example, but then they need some support, right? But then it doesn't stop there, because that means that you're only looking for that one person. That one person is not static. They grow over time. They learn a few things along the way. Doesn't mean that they no longer need your support. Absolutely not. So you have to, this high ticket pipeline matches your ideal client as they grow, as they become a company, as they become an organization, as they become an enterprise. So that's the difference there. So I speak to a lot of people that think that a higher ticket offer is beyond them, is out of their league. They can work, they only work with people that are, individual solopreneurs working with a company that has a CEO, and the chief financial officer. No, that's not for me. That's what I was doing when I was working at my job, right? That's the way they see it. Well, those very people are here watching probably this very video here today on LinkedIn, because they have the flexibility to say, let's see what these kids are talking about. Let's see what's going on here. How can I apply that to my business? So if you don't make yourself available to that opportunity, if you don't understand that everything that you learn actually can benefit a bigger organization, you're missing out. You're leaving money on the table. I was talking to somebody the other day, that's for you. I just work with people one-on-one, right? Well, I also thought, yes, I need to work with people on one-on-one. That's not who I work with. But then what happened is that they actually found me, and they opened my eye, because, they opened my eyes, because, there is the only way you're really going to learn what you do and what you're capable of is when somebody you're working with tells you. They tell you, this is what you did for me, Cristina. I feel like my organization has a new face today. And, sometimes most people that I know here on LinkedIn are really humble, and I'm humble myself. So when I hear those words, sometimes I'm like, did I do that? So, right. But yeah, we have to accept that we are capable of that we do that. And we have to, just like we put so much care, in supporting our clients, people we work with, they have to put as much care in growing our own businesses, and in believing that we have that growth exponential, and we have to, tap into it and utilize it. For me, I think what really has helped me throughout the years, the mind shift, the mindset, is that I didn't see selling my online services as something completely different than what I was doing before. What I was doing before, I was selling products.
Yeah.
I was doing e-commerce. So I thought I should put the same type of care that I was putting in describing those products so that people could find them, in describing myself and what I do, or in describing, the people that I interact with and what the transformations that they seek. So that's where it starts for me.
Wow. There is so much to unpack there. And I just really made a connection that I've been in this industry now 20 years. And I have clients that have been with me almost 20 years. Like in the very beginning, when I was just getting started, I was driving a 2002 Honda Accord with 427,000 miles on it. I was, at the time I started part-time. So I was, staying at home with my kids, but they have evolved. I've watched their businesses they have, maybe they started contractor with maybe a couple employees, and now, they've got a full-fledged, 50, 100 staff. And so it really required me to grow, because they would start asking me. They're wonderful people. I don't want to lose them as clients. They're like, okay, Leah, you helped me with my health insurance, but now I need life insurance. I need a buy-sell agreement. I need to know about succession planning. How am I going to sell my business? They started to ask me higher level questions, which required me to grow myself. And I just absolutely love learning. So it makes total sense. And the other part is, you're right. We are humble. And Coach Carrie, if you didn't see her episode, and I'm sorry, Coach Carrie, I don't know the name of the person you were interviewing, but there was a lot of brilliance in there. And the other thing they were talking about is, even though we're humble, we have to be willing and understand how to rah-rah ourselves. We got to shout ourselves out. Listen, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, yes, you can be humble. It doesn't mean that you're going to be arrogant. It doesn't mean that you're putting down other people, but there's going to be a moments when you're going to have to share your elevator pitch. There's going to be moments where you're going to have to highlight the success that you've had with a client. And so I love when a client pours back into us and tells us the things that we did. It's like, oh, wow. I know that feeling, because I have that feeling too. So I want to highlight a few more people who've joined us. Rob, he is a new friend. We have a coffee chat scheduled, I believe, but it's great to see you here. Appreciate you. And Jackie's still on her healing, thinking about you, thinking about your recipient, just sending you good juju to good healing. And she's got a comment here. And need to start having high ticket offers. Yes, we get to that point. So how do we know that we're ready? By the way, Jackie, this is a great segue. How do we know when we're ready to start a high ticket offer?
Again, you'll know, because you'll know by listening to the feedback, just like the story that you just shared. That's how I started. I listened to the feedback and I said, wait a second, what if a company, a bigger company, enlisted my services so that they can take the current digital footprint that they have and adapt it to be, up to date with AEO, and for the company provided the answers that their customers seek, so that they have more visibility. So how do I explain this concept to a bigger organization, where there is, in a bigger organization, it's not just one person you're talking to. There is, a little group of people. They take it all in and they make decisions, right? So how do I adapt what I already offer, and knowing that I'm speaking to possibly 3 to 4 people on a call at a time, and speak the language that each of them speak, because the chief financial officer speaks one language. They want to know about ROA. The marketing person, they speak one language. They don't want to feel out of the loop, because who's this person that we're consulting with? I'm the marketing person, right? So how do I elevate all the work that they already done and just say, you already done the work, you just have to restructure it, so that you don't make somebody in the organization feel, oh, she wants to take my place or something like that. And how do you get the person with a vision that is probably the one that said, let's call this person, right? To understand that you are completely seeing the vision, where they want to go, and explain the reality of it. Explain that their team, they are on point. They already did the work, right? So this is the work that we need to do together as a team, because when you do this for an organization, you need to come in as a team player, not as, the personal coach that is there and say, you do this, you do that, and keeps motivating them. That's different. That's something that you do one-on-one, right? So you have to adapt everything that you have, and understand, I'm in another setting here. I need to adapt. And I don't publish or post or advertise my high ticket offers, because actually they can deter other opportunities. So they happen completely out of conversation. I speak about a generic problem that everybody's facing, and then I am brave enough And I think everybody should be brave enough to see if you see somebody's reading you, they're subscribing, uh, they're looking at your profile, they do a little like, right? I don't let it go. I want to know who they are, especially if I see a connection. If I see that there is no connection, really was just, a cheer me on type of thing, I'll let it go, right? Or I just take a different approach. I take the long road, the long game. Get to know somebody slowly. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't, right? But there is always something to learn. But if I see that organization is repeatedly coming to me, looking, trying to absorb, I think that there is a problem. They are, they're trying to they're looking for a solution. I just take the step to say, I see that you're here, that's what you're doing, this is your space. How are you tackling the problem that I was discussing on this post, right? Just like that, not like, oh, I can solve all your problems, boom, this is how much it costs. Not in that way, but to start that human conversation. And then after a back and forth, maybe 5 to 6 messages, right? I can just suggest they might want to schedule a call. That's it. That's as simple as that, right? But it requires us not to jump the gun, not to go in all forceful. Everybody, I know what I'm trying to do, right? And the person on the other side, they know what I'm trying to do. So let's just, talk as two mature human beings about the particular problem, and let it go from there.
Yeah, that's so brilliant. And if you wouldn't mind, again, explain to us the AEO. What is that acronym?
That's answer engine optimization.
Answer engine. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
remember you talking about it.
it's an upgrade on the SEO, search engine, right? And it's the same thing, only we're not searching a browser, we're searching AI. So that's what's happening. You probably do it too. When you have a quick question, maybe you Google it, maybe you just go to your chat box, right? And it's faster, it's immediate. And even if you're Googling it, Google itself refers you to their chat box immediately. If you go on, do a Microsoft search on Bing, same thing, Copilot answers, right? So that's what's happening. So whether we're doing it purposefully or not, now that's how when we ask a question, that's how we get the answers. And if you put out there enough content that is what I call citable, right? You might be cited by that chat box or not, right? It takes time. But we have to do everything with that in mind. We
Yeah,
have to
that's
do
so good.
everything that we are writing, that we're typing on these socials. We have to do it with that in mind. Am I providing an answer to somebody's question? What are the questions? Great. Let's make a post about those questions. Let's make a newsletter article about those questions. And being careful not to do everything randomly. So the main thing about when I strategize AEO for an individual person or a company is exactly this. What are the first 2-3 lines that we are typing on a
Yeah.
post, on an article, on a blog, whatever it is, because that's what's getting scanned, right? Does it look like if it's answering something? Or does it contain some words that those chatbots recognize consistently there? That's what they associate things with. And it's not that hard because, again, we trained these AI models, these language models. They didn't invent the wheel. They just took 20 years of internet, compressed it, and and that's how they get their data. That's what they understand. So in reality, they speak and talk like us. A little bit robotic maybe, but they do, right? We taught them those words. So whatever it is that you're doing, if you're a financial expert, those words, right, they need to be right there. You're talking about money, great. You're talking about revenue. Those are the things that, what am I talking about before I even start typing anything? What it is that I'm talking about? How is this topic? How would this topic be categorized if it was in a library, for example? What section, what aisle in a library would I be walking into, right? So those are the first things that you have to think. Did I even mention that? Or am I saying, oh, last weekend I was pondering and thinking about something while I was sipping my cup of coffee, and that's the first line of your post, right? Well, that something needs to be ahead. Then you can do the storytelling that I did all this while I was having coffee, right?
I don't know if you guys are picking this up. I don't know if you're smelling what she's cooking, but she is dropping fire. She's dropping gold. Listen, I would ask all of you to invite somebody. If you know another entrepreneur, business owner, somebody's looking to get that next level, invite this, share this with somebody else. We definitely would appreciate that. And one thing that I would love your feedback on this is that high ticket number changes. Okay. I did a lot of things for free before I ever charged for them. Now people might look and say, oh my gosh, well, you charge so much for this. But I learned it through giving it for free to my valued clients, bringing them value, bringing them service, connecting them with other people. I love to connect other people. Just so you guys know, I give referrals. Okay, I absolutely do. Christina knows if somebody says something I'm like listening. Who do I know? Who do I know that I can connect them to? I love giving referrals. So I just think that is truly about that collaboration. So let me ask you this. When it comes to high ticket sales, when do they make that decision? I'm going to share my answer, but then you tell me what you find. This is how my high ticket sales have come to me, and they've definitely indexed. Okay. A high ticket sale for me used to be $97. Okay. Let me be like, you got to start somewhere. Okay. Now it's a different number, but what I find is those high ticket sales come out of the woodwork. They seem to come from out of seemingly nowhere, under the sofa cushions, behind the cracks and crevices, that suddenly somebody who you feel like you've only had some distance communication with, suddenly they're the high ticket sales. What would you say? Am I off track, or what do you find?
Oh yeah, exactly on point. It's that invisible shopping cart. They are what we call the lurkers, and we should call them something else because we deserve some respect. So, but that's exactly what it is. It's a decision that is made, over time. But sometimes, so you may think it's an impulse decision. I just talked to this person. I never knew them before, right? But they're probably here in the audience listening right now, and they're not commenting. They're just listening. Maybe on the treadmill, like you were, right? They're just listening and they're making a mental note. Then in 2 weeks, when they have a meeting with somebody, they'll say, I heard of this person. And then, usually I'm finding what happens when it's a company that approaches me. It's somebody that within the company, with a job, a management job or a VP role, that approaches me and has a casual conversation with me, like if, maybe they need some personal support. So that's the way it happened, right? And then comes to find out, we do the call, and sometimes they ask me, sometimes they don't, if their friend can come.
Oh.
Right? And I usually say yes, as long as not 3 million people and it doesn't become something else, right? And yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's two people from the organization making a decision.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Don't think that everything is weird. If somebody says, I want to bring somebody else on this call, maybe it's a bigger project. Maybe that person that they're bringing is the one that is actually paying for it. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, and I would add this. Don't put your hands in their pocket. Okay. So what I mean by that is if you're saving somebody millions of dollars a year in their taxes, I feel like I have the right to charge $100,000-$200,000 or more, right? Because it's the value that you're bringing. So let me ask you this. What about our LinkedIn presence? There's so much talk about our banner and, what do we post there? And what kind of content. What should we think of when we think of our LinkedIn presence just on its own? Is it kind of, I don't know, like, how should we be thinking about our LinkedIn presence? And I'm going to highlight, even if you're finding us on Facebook, we love you, Facebook. If you're on my YouTube channel, we love you, YouTube. But I really believe that every entrepreneur, every business owner, even if you have a W-2 job right now, should be on LinkedIn. So I'm going to really focus on that LinkedIn. What should we think about when we're creating this, our messaging on LinkedIn?
It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to go and spend thousands of dollars on a banner, right? And the thing is, if you're starting out, that banner will evolve over time, will change. Even if you think that you've been in business for a while and you're doing your first banner, it will change. So, and again, it's those conversations that will tell you what to put there. So the way I think about the LinkedIn landing page is this: somebody lands on it. Do they understand what you do? Now, okay, a nice banner that says it exactly, and you don't have to, you can do, you don't have to squint your eyes to read it, right? That definitely helps. So if you have to go and see, what does it say? I cannot read it, then, might as well put a picture of an ocean in there or your favorite shot, right? But make sure that it's readable. That's the only thing that I would say. If you have a call of action, like book a call, you can write it there, book an audit. But again, it's a 1 second, 1 to 2 seconds. Somebody looks like, okay, looks, it says this, right? And then they go and dig. And the first thing that they're going to see is your content. What they're really going to see is your content that stands out with some graphics, your newsletter. That's it. So, and they're going to scroll through, not endlessly. They're not looking for a deal on eBay. They're going to go scroll through the size of the screen. That's it. They're not going to look at your MBA. They're not going to look at, all your courses. They're not. Unless they're looking to hire you for some specific roles, they're really not. So that content is important. It's important that it is on point, that it is on topic, that you're writing about the same things that you're doing. Because they'll probably click on something that catches their eyes and they'll read it. So that's your first impression, whatever content is there. Then after they read it, they might make a decision to click on the bell, right? Follow you, maybe sending you a message, maybe just saving it so they can read it later, maybe like it. But most likely they'll just either take a screenshot, save it. If they were interested.
I do that all the time. Boom, so that I know where to find it. Yeah, that's good. I love this comment.
It's more elementary than you think, right? So what you want to do is, if I am somebody that gives financial advice, I'm not going to have my first post about, being, look what I bought. I just got my nails done on my, you know what I mean? I might do that, but I might bury it, or I might post something else, or I might tell my friends or something. This is your landing page. It's more important than a website. It really is, because it gets indexed more than a website. So when those searches that we were talking about, that AEO, right? 2 platforms are the most indexed ones. LinkedIn is number 2. Number 1 is YouTube. And up until recently, it was LinkedIn that was number 1.
Wow.
So that's what's, so everything that you're putting there is surfaces. If somebody heard your name, somebody listened, they caught an event and they listened for 5 minutes and they caught that your name is this, then we'll say, okay, let me make a mental note. That's your name. They go home, they'll type your name. What do they see? Do they find you easily? I guarantee you that if you're posting content, consecutively on the same topic, not diverting. One day is this topic, tomorrow is another topic, but something that brings it all under one umbrella, that's what will surface. Will be very clear who you are when somebody searches your name.
And someone who's really clear is Coach Carrie. She says they actually save your questions when you make inquiries on Google. She accidentally saw hers yesterday. So I think that goes to your point is, Coach Carrie's very active. She's in the comments. Sometimes people really hold back making comments, and I would really urge you to make comments. People see you in the comments. I've had so many people reach out because of a comment that I made on someone else's page or their video, not bringing the light to you, but giving that person their flowers. Listen, very few people are willing to give other people flowers. Let's just keep it real here. So if you're somebody that is willing to showcase others, people see that, they respect it, they want to know more about you. So I absolutely adore that. And one thing I want to highlight, I don't want to get off topic here, is that you also pushed me to start my LinkedIn newsletter. I resisted it. You talked about it ad nauseum. Every time I saw you, I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to Cristina. She's going to talk about my newsletter. I don't want to do a newsletter. I don't want to do a newsletter.
That's where you're talking.
And now I'm doing this newsletter. Now I'm like enjoying doing the newsletter. So you have to understand that it is a growth. If somebody comes in, they're brand new, they look at all the things that I'm doing, they would say, oh my gosh, you do so much. I feel like I do so little because it's almost like it's become a habit. It's a system now. I know, how to pattern my newsletters. Okay. The month of July, we're talking about financial independence. So when you start to find that is when it won't get so overwhelming. Start where you are. So that's all I want to say about that. But what I want to ask you is, what about this behind the scenes systems that can help us to start creating consistency and to start attracting these high ticket opportunities that are there, by the way? They're there if you're selling paper clips, whatever you're doing, there's always a high ticket that's available. So what would you say are those systems we need to put in place?
It starts with your content and it starts with your routines. So, for example, we talked about the newsletter. For me, the newsletter is actually where everything starts every week. Because I say, okay, what am I going to be? I mean, I already know because I batch my content ahead, at least 4 weeks ahead. But I already know this is the week where this is kind of what I'm discussing, right? Or this is the 10 days cycle where I'm discussing this topic heavily. And it's not a new topic. It's very much, aligned with what I do, right? So then you go and you write this topic. And whilst you write this topic, you learn something new, you research it, you find a new way to express it through your writing. So that's the one work. But then that piece of content also becomes a post, also becomes a comment, also becomes an event that you suggest to your friend Leah. So that's why I know 4 weeks in advance, and I was able to book this event with you and say, let's talk about this, right? So, and that's what I've been talking about last week and in the previous weeks. So that's the thing. So it's so important that's the system. That if this is the content that you want to put out there because you're looking to attract people that need the solutions that you're offering through this content, you have to find ways to keep touching on it, keep expressing it without sounding repetitive as much as possible. But it starts with that one piece of writing that is the newsletter, where you discuss it in depth. And then you can go and comment or tell somebody, hey, I just posted an article about this during a casual conversation. Or if somebody, I often message people that subscribe to my newsletter, new subscribers especially, and then some of them I missed that go down the line and said, hey, what brings you here? What are you enjoying about this newsletter? And some people people don't respond. A lot of people respond, and then I say, "Oh, this is great. You know what? I'm live with Lee on Wednesday." That's the system. That's the context, right? And then afterwards, I probably will say, were you there? Did you get a chance? Oh no, is there a replay? Yes, here is the link, right? And then I follow up. I mean, not with everybody, but where I see that there is something there, right? And that will take to that goes in the pipeline. That's part of the pipeline that we are talking about. A pipeline is not necessarily made just out of names and people, but it is also the actions that you take on a daily basis that lead to a result.
That has been something that has been a learning curve for me. Like I think it was probably at least a year you were encouraging me to do my newsletter, and I really resisted it because I felt like, gosh, you know what? I can't commit to another thing. I just wasn't ready for it. Now I'm more in a flow, and so I have more of a system, and it's really, I'm not going to say it's easy, but at least I have a system in place, and I know, okay, Friday is when I work on my newsletter. I work on my poster for the next Wealthy Wednesday. So I've kind of gotten into a flow, but listen, it's a commitment. If you're going to start a newsletter or something, you got to be consistent. Don't just do it one time. Don't commit to every week or every day. Maybe you do it once a month. You'll be amazed. Starting with once a month, you're going to start to hone your skills. And okay, so let me ask you this. What do you think it really takes to build predictability with high ticket offers? Is it going to take us a week, a month, a year? Like what kind of time horizon?
It's everything everything takes about 90 days. If you're lucky, you get a result within a month, but even lower ticket offers, right? It takes 2 to 3 conversations at least, and not random ones. So you and I sometimes butt heads on these coffee chats, right? No, yes, they're not pitch. Nobody's pitching in the calls. I mean, if you're smart, you're not pitching. You let people tell them what they need, and then you tell them what you have, right? So that's the thing. But at the same time, you can't take every single call of somebody that wants to meet you that are not ready to do business, are not ready to consider doing business, or there are a lot of people that are just looking for information real quick. They want to know, hey, I want to do my profile and I want you to tell me how to do it. Well, I'm sorry, that's what I charge for. I mean, it's one of my lower ticket offers, right? So I will give some tips and tricks, but then if somebody's there with a notebook and says, "Where do I put this?" That's not. So that's why I urge people to make sure that you clarify in this call what the call is for, even if it's no pitch, even if it's just a discovery call, a get to know call. Make sure that it's clear. The call is because we're going to be talking about business, a solution that you want to solve. And then doesn't mean that you close the call to people that want to collaborate with you. I want people to click when they're ready to talk business, right? But if I'm messaging somebody, we are on a conversation, and they say, hey, we should talk more about this, I'll send them the link, I'll send them a link to have the collaborative conversation. So that's the thing. I came to this because I was, especially doing audio rooms or going live, I was having too many people booking just because, they wanted me to do an event with them one-on-one, basically. And I bless their heart, right? But the thing is, I work about 6 hours in a day, very focused 6 hours. That's what I do. And I manage those hours between calls and actually having, my clients taken care of. So that's why I cannot just take all these bookings for, I wanna get to know you better, and you have to deter a little bit. You have to deter a little bit. I had to do that because I had to do it. So that's the thing. I had to do it. I could, it was actually detracting from my business and my calendar.
Yeah, for sure. And I've learned how to identify those people right away if they're looking for a date. Like, no, this is not what this conversation is. There's some things that you can do to prevent that. Record those calls. It's a 7 minute. Listen, I want to get to, I can quickly see who is real and who's not real. And again, I'm looking for certain things. I'm looking as, could this be a potential guest on my show? Could this be a potential referral for somebody? And I have certain people that come to my mind often because I really respect the work that they do. I know I can, I feel like they're people of integrity and they're going to take care of them. They're not going to come back to me afterwards and say, hey, you referred me to this Cristina and she, went twisted. No, I know when I refer people to Cristina, they're well taken care of. And also it is modulating that. So if those coffee chats are interrupting your day, they're interrupting your flow, then only allow a certain time in your schedule. Maybe it's only on Thursdays. Maybe it's only the dead space. Like if you never have clients Friday afternoon, allow your no pitch coffee chats on your calendar only for Friday afternoon. And then that way it starts to, gives you some activity. So yes, it's not like it's an open book. Come and talk to me for hours. I'm going to sit there and listen to what happened to your puppy dog, 20 years ago. No, this is still with intention, looking at collaboration, looking at maybe there's somebody I can refer them to. Those are the kinds of things that I'm looking for. So yeah, it definitely has evolved. But I'll tell you what, in the beginning, throw it up against the wall and see what stuck. Okay, let's
Same here, like everyone, right? That's how you learn.
Just like I'm a pitch slapper, recovering pitch slapper. I used to do that. In fact, I just saw a message that I messaged somebody who wanted to talk to me, and I pitch slapped them years ago. And if any of you have a pitch slap from me, I greatly apologize. Listen, we all start somewhere.
Yeah, well, it is like that, and also I think when everything is that clear before the call, right? You come with a different mindset. If you're just having a conversation, you're relaxed. You're, it just, you're not. The tone is different. But if you know that this is a call to potentially talking about onboarding a client, then you put a different hat on altogether, and that's important to be able to be in the situation where the call comes in and you think, oh, it's just my buddy, I'm just gonna relax. No, this is somebody that is gonna fork $6,000, right? So that's almost almost like a job interview. Only you're also interviewing them.
Whew, I love that. Because we have to decide who we want to work with. Not everybody who comes to me is somebody that I want to work with. In the beginning, yeah, you help everyone, but then there's some people who are just not good stewards of your time, even if they're paying you. How can we as entrepreneurs, business owners, really start to generate 10,000 plus, let's just use 10,000 plus. I think that's kind of a good starting point to say, okay, how can I consistently generate 10,000 plus of my business so that, I'm not starving. I can pay my bills. I can do the things I want to do, kind of take care of my family.
Well, you have to know what your offers are very clearly and do the math. Know what needs to happen for you to generate that 10K and go for it. Meaning you have this offer, you gotta let people know that it exists. Doesn't mean pitching people. It means post about it, write about it. When you have a conversation, mention what you have, right? I have three main offers. You can start here. I think this will be most beneficial to you. But you have to think, today is Monday. How many conversations am I going to have where I have the opportunity to tell people this is how you work with me, right? And you have to build that pipeline. It's all about this pipeline. It's Monday morning, and you have to think, who am I talking to today? LinkedIn is not There is no shopping cart. People are not clicking buy. It's not eBay, okay? So who do I need to talk to initiate a conversation that down the line is going to monetize? And I say down the line because just because I talked to somebody this week, it doesn't mean that by Friday I'm getting, a few $1,000s, right? That's the whole thing. It takes about a month and a half for one person after the initial audit, unless they were completely ready to look at their calendar, see when they are available, and finally say, okay, this date, fine, let's do the onboarding call. And then after the onboarding call, they pay. It takes a month and a half per person. That's why you need that pipeline. That's why you have to keep it full. This many people I talked to today, and I did let them know about this because they asked. So there are also, it's a flow. You're talking to people. Oh, we haven't met. This is what I do. This is what you do. What brings you here? What are you doing right now? How are you using the platform? Start those conversations as, the warming conversation. Then they tell you, this is what I'm doing, and this is the problem that I have, right? And then they say, okay, well, this is how I solve the problem. And then say, oh, right now I'm not interested in investing in anything. Great. Keep reading my newsletter. Yeah, I share a lot of tips and tricks in there, right? But if they say, and how does it work? If they want to know more, then they say, well, why don't we get on a call? So that's a flow. But there's still going to be months where everything doesn't go your way. It's taking longer, that month and a half, or and maybe you didn't get enough name on the pipeline because summer is here and you decided to spend more time at the pool. So that you're solely responsible for this. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's good to have something else behind the scenes. So for me, I also coach people that are interested in it on how to do it. For me, is digital marketing, is having a print-on-demand platform, an e-commerce platform. Now, I had it since 2011. So for the longest time, actually up until now, it's not completely aligned with what I do now. But I'm starting to see that there is some alignment. And the reason why I started to see that there is some alignment is because I was working with a client. So I suggested they did print on demand, and they aligned that with their business. They were doing meditation and mindfulness. So perfect. You can create products, not necessarily with your logo, because, those don't really sell, in quantities. Those are more of a gift or something that you give a client as a thank you, but just products that help people center themselves in a particular case. It could be a journal, it could be, a poster, a yoga mat, all those kind of things that are available on this platform for people to purchase. So I teach people to do that because, the best thing about it is that you create the products, you use designs, you can, do AI designs, you have public domain designs, all that. But it doesn't cost you anything to create them. And you sell them because you're sharing them for the most part. So anyhow, so if somebody's interested, please feel free to contact me. There is a way where you can make e-commerce revenue without actually owning the physical product.
Yeah, you're so brilliant with that. I think this is a great question by Rob. How do we feel about Calendly? Just send my number, text. I will say for me, Rob, personally, I live and die by my calendar, and my Calendly is crucial. It's not a little bit important. It is a core part of my business. And I don't set it up. My team sets it up for me. I think most people don't put enough intention into their Calendly. They think they just put their name and then that's no, there's way more behind it. But what would you say to this incredible question?
Yeah, first of all, this is another conversation that we had a couple of years ago. where I was using this, the little calendar. And I did have my Google Calendar, but I wasn't really using that. And I was doing everything with the M, and then I was scheduling a Google Meet, right? There you go. So, see, Leah, you're more advanced than you think. So, so anyhow, yes, Calendly, it's great. It's, sometimes it's a learning curve because it's not the most friendly thing at the beginning. You have to find out where all the buttons are, right? But it goes back to your capacity. So this week, I want to take calls, right? And for me, I put quite a few time slots during the week because, again, my calls are if you want to talk about business, right? So I definitely want people to book. So you put that there and you say, okay, this is the time that I have available, and I want to feel that time. I want to feel it. And at the same time, you can adjust for not being available. So now I'm working with somebody. This gotta go. This gotta go. Today I'm really here. This availability is gone. Right. So you have to take all those things up. But Calendly, it's also I personally have to curate a little bit more, but also is a landing page. It's another landing page. So when you set up your Calendly, that description that you're putting there, what this call is for, and those questions, they are somewhere. When you upload images and you give your LinkedIn to your Calendly, when you do a post with your Calendly link and you upload an image, you can put alt text, right? So again, another opportunity to surface online. So it's not just, so that we can schedule a call, but there is verbiage and content that goes behind it. And again, it helps you. So in the morning before I start, I open my Calendly, say, okay, I get these new meetings, no meetings. I need to do something. Time to really go work on that pipeline because I see that my August is empty. So I need to really focus right now and feel my first 2 weeks of August.
Yeah, that is really so critical. And I would even say if you have a few dollars to invest in having somebody set up your Calendly link for you, because that is through osmosis an advertisement there. There's so much to it. Like I said, I don't know how to use it. Don't ask me because I don't do any of it. My team sets it up for me, but the things that they do with it is really paid off dividends in spades. This is an incredible question by our queen. Great to see you, Queen Leslie. She gave us a great shout out. Thank you so much for your comments. Appreciate your engagement. She says, how many coffee chats is too many in a day? So for me, I looked at my calendar and I looked at where I had the least amount of activity for client calls and such. And that's when I open up my schedule for coffee chats. You can't book a coffee chat with me every single day of the week. There are specific times and days. And so there's only so many slots. But how would you answer this question?
Well, for me, because I don't call it a coffee chat and it's an audit, I have no more than 3 per day available. But the availability is not because I want to fill all 3, it's because I want to give people some choice. So I find that for my brain, 2 is good because then I have to do other things. Otherwise, it disrupts you all day, right? The third one, it can drain you, especially if they're not going anywhere. So that's the thing. So I usually do very well with about 1 or 2 calls every other day, that because I know they're called, they're planned. There is some context to it, and I know where it's going. That long term, within that 1 month and a half to 3 months period, this is going to be something. So that's what I really want. And then now the other types of chats, the one that we should catch up. Maybe we can brainstorm something together, some collaboration. Again, a couple of weeks. That's it. Not a day. Because you have a business to run.
Yeah, I totally agree. You got to set some boundaries with it, right? Just don't open your calendar all day long to no pitch coffee chats or get to know you chats or whatever those meet and greet types of things are. treat it like, like sugar. We don't have sugar every day. We have sugar, just those little bits and pieces in there. And this is a great question by Rob. He says, do you feel disingenuous to use it? And I think he's talking about Calendly. If I'm wrong, Rob, please clarify your question. For me, what I find, and in the beginning, I really did I was very apprehensive to use it because I was contacting my clients individually, prospects, text them, reminder. When I started Wealthy Wednesday, I did it all by hand. Now it happens automatically. If someone wants to be a guest speaker, what do? I send them my link. They complete all the form. They get the reminders. I mean, it's just incredible. And what happens is you might feel like you're being more disingenuous, but people really what I find is people like to be able to self-schedule. I send out my link and then I'll find appointments on my calendar. Like, wow, okay. Like yesterday, there's probably 3 or 4 appointments that came through from people I had already sent my link to. So I think this is a really great question here.
Yeah, if he's talking about the Calendly and coffee chats in general, disingenuous is because you really have a different end game at the end of the chat. So that again brings back to, let's clarify what the call is about, right? Or we're talking about your business. That's what we're talking about. So and so the other thing is we also have to meet people where they're at. I try to push people, even those that contact me in other ways, emails or texts for other reasons, to really book the time on my Calendly, because it gets confusing for me. It gets confusing for me. But I have found that a few people, they don't, it's too much for them, right? So in that case, I'll just relax. They really want to talk to me, and I'll say, okay, you know what? I'll do it for you.
I got somebody else here.
Yes, I'll do it for you. So meaning sometimes I have to do it manually and just send a different type of link. But, that's like 3%, right? For the most part, it's a feature like that really helps you staying on top of your game. Look at it. It tells you how you're doing. Your calendar is empty. You're not doing so good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great question by Jedi J, and he and I are about to enjoy a coffee chat together. Do you believe a coffee chat can bring expanded time? Example, from 15 minutes to 45 minutes. What would you say to this, Ms. Cristina?
No, I think you have to be very clear on what the time is. Mine is 20 minutes, and I have a buffer, but the buffer is because the conversation is going somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, if the conversation goes somewhere, I just give them another link,
Yeah.
Basically, yes, I want to work with you right now. Onboard me.
Yeah.
Sure. We can talk 2 hours. Let's onboard you right? So that's the thing. But no, you have to protect your time. And as much as you enjoy talking to somebody and you are a fan of somebody, you also have to respect the person's time, because a lot of us here on LinkedIn, we already give a lot, right? You talk about being generous, giving, and probably the way I'm talking right now is like, oh, she's not that generous. But yes, I'm generous. I'm here, I'm live. I also do, also have paid workshops, right? That we do for a few hours. I do some.
And I would say your content, your newsletter, people need to look. You give a lot of free information. So if somebody really wants that information, they got to go and look at your content. Actually read your newsletter, read your post. You have articles, like you give a lot of brilliance. And I would say this too, and I know this kind of got into a coffee chat conversation, but listen, I will also say off with your head. And this is what I mean by that. If somebody shows up, they're not on camera. Off with their head. thank you for this time. Is there a question I can answer for you real quickly? Is there something I can do for you really quickly? But if they don't have the respect to show up on the camera, then I don't have, listen, we got to have boundaries, right, Queen? Right, Queen Leslie? I say, no, 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 no. If somebody shows up unprofessional, they're there sitting on their sofa, they got their feet up and they're, listen, this is a coffee chat, but still, this is a professional platform. I expect you to show up with your camera. And, sometimes I had a coffee chat the other day, they had their little one. That's no big deal. Like, I'm totally fine with that because we're Zooming and booming, so we're allowed to do that. If somebody shows up and they just don't have anything to add, they're not asking questions or they're not sharing really authentically, you can tell when people are being genuine. I thank them for their time and I professionally disengage. Right now, I'm telling you guys off with their head, but I really will. We got to know our boundaries. So we have gone like way over here. You're always got so much nuggets. Like, I don't want to let you go, but I have to respect your time and let you go. So you made a lot of new fans and friends. How can people reach you? Where do they contact you?
LinkedIn, send me a DM. Let's start a conversation. That's the best way. That's how it starts.
Absolutely. You also do Substack too. You're really big on
Yes.
Substack.
Well, maybe I'll steal a couple of more minutes because I actually have something to say that is related. Yes, I'm not big on Substack. Yes. I'm actually, I've been on Substack for years, but as a reader, because I found, there's a lot of good writing in there. But when I started my business in 2020 into 2021, the beginning of 22, I didn't think I thought that platform would be distracting for me because then I want to do other things in there that are not aligned, right? So I didn't do anything with it. Then I think it was a year ago that I started posting a few things, but it felt different. The LinkedIn, of course. And it felt like I cannot do exactly what I'm doing here, there. It sounds like if I'm just exactly what we talked about, that I'm coming in with a pitch. That's what it felt. And, as a newbie, because I only have 70 subscribers, right? So I cannot go in with a pitch. But I decided last month to be consistent, doing every week, posting something there, like an article there every week, and being in those notes where people, being there, meaning my notes, commenting on people's notes. And guess what? It actually helped me on LinkedIn because it helped me humanizing those conversations. Now, those were no pressure conversations that I incidentally converted some into business out of Substack into LinkedIn. But they were, if you come and show up as you are, and if you're a coach, right? If you have something to teach it. People ask you, why are you here? What are you doing here? You just tell them, well, this is what I do. And I want to expand what I'm doing here on this platform. And I'm looking for people that want to start businesses, for example. So I'll just transparently say that. And, one thing leads to another and you have those conversations. So there you go. If somebody wants to try both platforms, it's great because you can connect your LinkedIn. So, people can see, oh, you're not just here. You have your other socials. I can see exactly, your footprint.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cristina. I always enjoy our conversation. I appreciate our connection so much. And I appreciate you giving us an extra few minutes of your time. I'm going to go ahead and put you back in the green room. I think they've got I don't know, I think there's a 3D printer down there for you to play with or something like that. Listen, this has been so valuable to me. I trust you got value too. Please share this with somebody. Yes, Jay, always be kind. Just be you and always be kind. I absolutely agree with you. I'm looking forward to our coffee chat. Listen, wherever you are, you can absolutely have a high ticket offer. It comes from improving yourself. We have to grow our mind. We have to grow our value. You can't ask for a check of $10,000, $50,000 if you are yourself still feeling not confident about that, right? The more you grow your mind, the more you speak your mind, the more value that you're going to be able to bring to others. And all of you are valuable. I appreciate all of you who show up here. I appreciate you so much. Reshare this with somebody. And listen, this is our year 2026. We got to come out of the shadows. We got to get into the mix. We got to get into the comments. Maybe you don't do coffee chats. Maybe you connect with people in the comments. That is so much treasure, so much gold in there that people overlook that. If you don't like no pitch coffee chats, start commenting other people. Give other people their flowers. Be willing to allow other people to sparkle. You can absolutely sparkle up somebody today and make their day. Maybe they want your services. Maybe they want to collaborate. Maybe they have a referral for you. Maybe you just brighten up their day. I think we need a little bit more sparkle in our day. So I appreciate all of you. This is going to do it for this episode. Join us every single week when I'm here at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And remember, your wealth today is your dynasty tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Team Live, and I adore you, Team Replay. Thank you, everyone.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Introducing Leah Garcia's Wall of Wealth, the ultimate one-page financial plan to protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth with confidence. Whether you're a business owner or just starting your financial journey, this step-by-step guide gives you the tools to create a solid foundation for long-term success. Don't wait to transform your money mind shift. Download your free copy today at leahgarcia.io and start building your wall of wealth now.